all you Possum-fied people? This is the very first Possumbility Podcast. We've been talking about doing this for a long time.
Hey.
And me and Jesse's going to bring on some guests. We're going to bring on, throughout time today, it's just going to be us talking a little bit. We're going to run them 20 minutes or so. Would you care to set a timer, actually?
I can do that.
So I'm actually really, really excited because we've been thinking about doing this for a long period of time. Hello. We've been thinking about doing this for a long period of time, and I actually had this thing. I know you can't see the whole thing, but this whole thing built almost last year. I got ready to set this up, and we're just going to do the very first Possumbility Podcast right now, live, and I'm going to tell y'all a little bit more about us, more about our struggles, and just our whole story. And then, of course, we'll bring Katie and Savannah on occasionally. We'll bring some of our employees in occasionally. Sometimes we may even bring customers on. We're just going to kind of let it grow organically and kind of figure out, because I think that there's a lot of things that I think people can benefit from. I know the restaurant business has changed the way we do life because of a lot of lessons that we learned. We got to deal with you going down.
Yeah.
So we got these little up and down things. But anyway, we actually got a chat. This is live. So Jesse right now so Katie and Savannah's talking back and forth with us all the time. We have an online chat on Facebook so that people can see. My phone is actually going off right now because we're recording on my phone. What's up, Quentin? What's going on? But anyway, if y'all think that y'all are going to like watching the Possumbility Podcast, or at least listening to it, we're going to offer on different mediums. We're going to show it both audio and through video like this. We'll probably also post it to YouTube, but this is the very first one. And what we're actually going to talk about today, because I asked Jessie earlier, I wondered what her biggest overcoming struggle was in dealing with the restaurant. That's the one thing I wanted to know from her today, so I thought that I'd let her share that with me and with y'all about what the biggest thing was, because I feel like that there's a lot of things that we can learn. I think every single person has a story, and I know Abraham Lincoln said, "Every man is my teacher," and so I think that each and every one of us has a story to share and a story to tell, and I think we can learn from each other. So, Jesse, in the restaurant business, we started the restaurant business. If many of you may not know, but we started back in 2011. And
I remember.
And what was going on during that time, Jess?
Well, it's kind of a blur now. But so we got married on August 6th. We got married, and it was wonderful. And we went on a week. We went for our honeymoon.
Before we continue, just give us a couple likes if y'all can hear the quality. If y'all can hear just fine, I just want to make sure before we continue. Y'all just hit a few likes.
The camera's kind of far away, so...
Yeah, we kind of put it far back so y'all could see.
Might need to talk louder.
Yeah, I kind of thought you might need to. That was my nice way of saying it.
Yeah. So we got married, went on our honeymoon for a week, and then we came back to, I guess, did we already have the location at that time?
We figured out the location while we were planning the wedding, yeah.
Okay. So, because, it was so crazy then. We planned our wedding in 3 months or something, right? Mm-hmm. And then we were opening the restaurant too, so it's kind of all in there, but not really.
I just remembered, actually. It's so funny. So at the time I was working at a restaurant that's actually here in town, and great owner, great guy. And I was working for him, and when we decided to do this, I was so nervous to tell him. I was so nervous. I put it off for weeks. And I remember the day, Jesse said, "You're going to have to because we get married soon." And so I would, it's so funny, but I remember going in and I almost threw up the day that I went in. I pulled up and I was like, I gotta do this, but I'm afraid I'm gonna throw up because I just want to tell him that I'm actually gonna open up a restaurant. It's like
right down the road.
Right down the road. I felt so bad. But anyway, I had to do it.
And the guy you worked with there was gonna go with you.
He was gonna come with me, yeah. And so I felt awful. Really bad. It does sound awful, but he was gonna quit anyway. Anyway, he said so.
Yeah.
But anyway, and he asked me not to try to get any of his workers, and I that was one thing I said for years. I wouldn't even interview people that had worked there because I didn't want him to think that I was trying to do that, Later on, I've hired a few people that had worked there, but that's been years later, you know. So.
And they came to us.
And they came to us. We didn't go to them. But anyway, we digress. We digress.
Yeah.
So, what was it for Jesse, for you? Like, what was those first few months like? Because we were living in my parents' garage, so, like, what was that like?
Trying to talk about it.
Okay, I'm sorry. If y'all don't know, I talk a lot.
So we got married and stuff, and then we were living with your parents in their garage.
Yeah.
Which it was, like, a nice garage. Like, it wasn't like a garage.
It used to be a garage, and they converted it into, like,
so
a room.
So it was a room.
It was a room.
But we just call it that. So it's nice, but it was just one big open room that we lived in. We had our bedroom in there, and our, like, wardrobe with all our clothes in it. Like, I don't know how our clothes fit in there. Like, I don't know where my clothes were, because I know they couldn't have fit in there.
And the bathroom was on the completely other end of the house, too. So, but new married couple, Yeah. So, it's fun.
But of course, first opening the restaurant, we weren't there very often. We were at the restaurant all the time.
So much.
Nonstop, except Mondays, thank God, and Sundays, because we were closed up until a couple of years ago. Yeah. I don't know exactly when we started open on Sundays, but
no, we were open on Mondays at that time.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were just closed on Saturday morning and Sunday.
Okay, so like I said, it's all a blur. I don't remember. But I remember the first week we opened, though, we actually ran out of food on Saturday, so we decided that we weren't going to be open on lunches.
That's right. That's why we didn't open on Saturday lunches. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was fun. I was a server. I'd never worked in a restaurant before, so I had no idea what I was doing. Along with a lot of us there, Roland, had experience in the restaurant, but owning your own restaurant, I would say, is a lot different than working in a restaurant.
Yeah, for sure.
Wouldn't you say?
For sure. I had no idea what I was getting into. I had no idea what I was getting into.
Yeah, that you would not even think of as an employee versus an owner.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine, obviously, I wasn't an employee before, but now I'm an owner, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So after the first year was like crazy hard. Like, we didn't know what we were doing, and we had the longest ticket times. Like, I remember people would come in and wait for like
an hour,
over an hour, maybe
even
2 hours. A lot of when we first opened. Thank you to whoever you were that came.
that stayed with us.
Yeah. But also there was a lot of unhappy people that that I had to serve, and that was very difficult. Very. I was 20 when we did. Like, I was 20 years old. So I was young. I turned 21 that October, so I was quite emotional, not as thick-skinned as I am now. So I would have a lot of days when I would cry, like, a lot, just from emotional distress and just exhaustion.
She's not joking. One time, Jimbo came back he was a guy that worked with us. Yeah. He came back to the kitchen. He's like, I think you need to go talk to Jessie. Mm-hmm. She's in the office. And I walked her into the office, and she was just... and we had just got married for a few months, and I just, oh my goodness, I felt terrible.
But that wouldn't happen every day, but I just, obviously that kind of sticks out in my memory because it was a big moment, just very emotional. But over time, I grew stronger, and it was just hard because, I don't know if you've worked in a restaurant before, you probably have an idea of what I'm talking about, but if not, then it's just hard when you have to serve someone who is, like, not happy, mm-hmm. and you feel like you're doing all you can, and, like, it's just not good enough, and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, I'm sorry, it's just like, so we were doing the best we could at the time. This is
almost 8 years ago now. Not quite, but almost 8 years ago.
Almost 8 years ago.
We'll have our anniversary right before our 8th year anniversary.
We've learned so much now. Like, I feel like, obviously we are 200% better than when we first started.
1,000%.
Yeah, so I don't worry about any of that now. Like,
not
of course,
that kind of stuff.
I'm not a server now. So thankfully.
But, there was actually a few years Jessie wouldn't even go back up to the front.
Yeah, actually, I started working in the kitchen because I needed to get away from. To get away from people sounds terrible, but
that's
I just felt like it was so much pressure, especially being the owner. Like, people would tell us, a lot of things like, y'all need to do this, and I mean, obviously I know they were being helpful and stuff, but it was just like, we had so much going on, like, in our minds, like,
oh my goodness,
our list just continually growed and growed and growed, so,
I remember my dad one time, because my dad, my mom, and her dad would come out and help us all the time, and I remember one time that it was crazy, because, like, this guy, it was like, it sounds so mean, because it kind of was, but this guy didn't like we had overcooked our hush puppies. That is what had happened, and that happens occasionally, but not often, but it does. And this guy didn't like his hush puppy, thought it was too hard, and he took it and literally. My dad went out to tables just to kind of be like, "How's everything?" And this older gentleman took it and threw it at him. It was it was just like, don't you remember that? I remember that. I don't know who it was too.
Okay, did your dad know them?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
But anyway, it was just so demeaning, and I think that was one of the big things is developing that thick skin just for all of us is just realizing that it's really not personal, but it's easy to take personal.
Exactly.
When people do it like that.
Like, I know they weren't just
hey, thanks,
Kylie.
I had to lean up because I don't have my glasses on, so I had no idea what the comments said.
So yeah, that was hard, but
So if we're gonna like if you were to draw the whole experience out from there to here, what's the number one thing you've learned how to do, or what was your biggest root cause of the struggle? Would you say of just in general in the restaurant business?
Well, I mean, the restaurant is totally unpredictable in many facets. Like with employees, sometimes they'll call out 10 minutes before their shift, or they'll quit 10 minutes before their shift,
or not show up,
or just not show up, or
not so much anymore, but it happens.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it happens.
We are very blessed. Like even from when we started, we've had great help. We all the time people are like, "Isn't it so hard to find help?" And I just can't fully relate to that. Because we have had great people.
Well, there have been times, but for the most part,
there's always ones
where
they have our back and they are reliable and just will come in whenever. So thankful for them. But anyway, just to make the point, it's there's a lot of unpredictable things in the restaurant. Things will break all of a sudden, and it seems like all at the same time.
I have a broke cooler right now, and in Sparta, we just bought a new oven in December.
And it's messed up.
And it's already messed up.
And it's just that is the unpredictableness of a restaurant is probably the biggest thing. And when we first started, I just could not deal with it. It was just so hard for me. I would just get so upset if someone would call out. I would get so upset because it would just change everything. I would just have to have. I just want to know how the night's gonna go.
Jessie is totally she wants things to be structured and in order, which is wonderful because I'm the complete opposite. I'm just go by the seat of my pants.
But I have gotten a lot better with that. That is something I've had to learn to deal with.
So
I've had to learn to deal with that, but through the process of learning was very hard. I would say that's probably the biggest struggle that I've had, and also because Roland is. Hey, my mom. That's my grandma. But because Roland is so opposite of me, it would make it hard because I would be like, oh my gosh, how you don't even care. Why don't you care about this? And he would just be like, it'll work out, and he would just I don't know, it just wouldn't bother him the same way, and it would just be frustrating to me even more. And
which, don't get me wrong, I'm so glad that Jessie is like that, or at least leans that way, because if I the restaurant wouldn't work without that order, and I'm the talkative guy, I'm this, but Jessie kind of keeps it. I remember watching, it reminds me, I always felt with me and Jessie, it was so funny. I remember one time, a long time ago, I was watching Walk the Line. It was actually, I think it was one of the first movies we watched together. Yep. That? It was the first movie we watched together. It was on New Year's Eve. In the garage. In the garage where we lived in.
That we would soon move into.
And Granger, my cousin, was there. And we were young at the time. Because I was
16.
I was 18, I think. And she was 16. And she had come over and we had a big New Year's Eve party at my mom's house and all her sisters and stuff. We were watching Walk the Line. Now, I thought about the Walk the Line video a long time I actually thought about this morning. I hadn't told you, but I was thinking about it, and him and Joaquin Phoenix, who played Johnny Cash, and Reese Witherspoon, who played June Carter. He said something like, "Oh, don't worry, it's going to work out. Everything always works out, you know." And she says she was mad at him. She's like, "No, it don't." She was like, "People work it out for you, John, and you think it works it out for you think it works out for itself." And I was thinking about that because I was thinking about like Jessie and how much she takes care of, and how that like I feel like things work out for themselves, and Jessie's the one that works them out.
Well, not just me.
And not just Jessie, but like I have this big team around me. So like I know a lot of people like, you know, look, because I'm like kind of the face of the White Possum, and it has for a long time. And that's really the reason why I wanted Jessie to be on here with me. And I want to invite more and more people so that y'all can kind of see the team that makes the White Possum happen, because it's not just me. It's not just us. It's a lot of people, and we couldn't do it without them. You know, and I think that's good for any company to realize, is like it takes this community, and you got to create a culture around you, because when we had our biggest struggles was when we weren't employee focused or even customer focused. Mm-hmm. Like it's so easy to get bound up in your own problems and all the things that's breaking and all the things that's having problems, and it's like, yeah, they're problems, but like focusing on them, like, and really getting absorbed in them just don't help that well. So what's up? Oven again. There goes the baked potatoes. Actually, we come out with a new solution for the potatoes when the oven. Like, yeah, Quentin, seriously, like we literally bought that oven in December, and about a month before that, I bought a new cooler here in Smithville to put just the dressings in, so that the servers would easily be able to grab more dressings. Like if someone needed honey mustard, that broke just the other day. The oven broke just the other day, and ever since we opened in Sparta, we have these drawer warmers. I got these used drawer warmers, which I'm never getting again, by the way. But I got these used. She told me I didn't listen to her. But I got these used ones. They look great, and they have never regulated their temperature right. And we've had to buy another one, and I got to buy even another one. But they're like $2,500 a piece. So it's like, oh, money, you know. And so. And like property taxes just come out. So like there's all this stuff that happens, and we're always in some kind of personal development program that we're like paying money for. So but don't get me wrong, like that's how we've grown is through all these problems. Like the obstacles always ends up being the way. You just don't know it but if you're always focused on the problem. But so the unpredictability of the restaurant business is really, so how have you dealt with that the most? Like what has changed about you?
Well, I guess I would just say that I don't let it bother me as much. Like, if someone calls out, like, I'm just like, okay, like today someone called and I was like, okay, well, you'll have to find someone to cover your shift. Like, we have more, like, procedures of things that we do. And,
systems.
And I'm just more confident in, just the crew we have, and I mean, obviously, like, we can come and help if we need to,
which we do.
Either
a lot of times. Like, we were cooking today. Jessie cooked. I had a meeting in here, and then I came and helped. I had to go to Sparta this morning and do something on the roof. Yeah. And it's just it is an unpredictable game. Like that's the thing. You have to be okay. Like in any business scenario, you have to be okay with like completely like things not like happening the way you expect them to, you know?
I remember hearing Peggy McCall, that's one of our mentors, and like I haven't personally been mentored by her, but Rollins actually in her program that she is mentoring him personally, but she's great. Like, check her out on Facebook. And YouTube. She has great videos. Peggy McCall.
She's a New York Times best-selling author. She's actually the one that coached me into how to launch my book, We Think in Secret. And so, I don't know if you follow me or not, but you can follow me at Roland Banana Video Experience on Facebook, and I do a daily podcast called Thought Hacking 365. And Jessie actually just launched a new blog. How do they find your blog?
I don't really know.
Okay,
if you go to my Instagram,
the
link is in the bio, and my Instagram is @wearinghappy or @JSVanada. So it's on both of those.
Yeah, so you can follow us that way too.
On Instagram.
Because like this Possumbility Podcast is more just about like what we've learned in the restaurant business and like our journey.
Yeah. If you don't, I have to finish before
I'm
I
sorry.
forget
I'm sorry.
what
Go. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I remember Peggy was saying how
Hey Wanda. Hey Judy.
if you like revise your day when something happens that is like not scheduled, she said just revise it. Like it's not got to be a big deal.
I've never heard her say that.
Yeah,
That's
I'm pretty
so
sure it was her. I'm almost 100%.
It sounds
but like it's not a big deal. So like I guess I just don't make it a big deal anymore. Like I just like okay. Like I mean obviously sometimes it bothers me for a minute, but you know.
I mean it's always aggravating. Like if I'm if we're sitting at home and we're off for the night and we're like relaxing or we're talking or we're working on a project, and all of a sudden I get called into the restaurant. It's not like I'm saying yes. You know, it's not like that. But it's like I remember like normally I kind of have a procedure because I used to. Now I've never liked. I'm okay. It hadn't darkened yet.
Okay.
But we're actually almost at our 20 minutes.
And I gotta order.
So and she's got to order, so it's going to be short. But it's really interesting because like I have a procedure now because when I used to get called in when I very first because we had worked so many hours. I got really frustrated when I got called in when I wasn't expecting it. And I used to come in and I was just mad. And I remember Savannah and Katie telling me about it later on when I learned how to kind of control my state. And if you've never learned how to control your state, it's like one of the most powerful things you can ever learn to do. We talk a lot about it in Thought Hacking 365. So I may talk about that today. I'm fixing to go home and do the podcast. But in state control. Tony Robbins talks a lot about state control. But actually, when I get called in now, I get in my car, and I get ready to pull out, and I'm like, okay, whatever way I am when I walk into the restaurant, most likely if they're calling me in, they're already stressed. And so, like, if I come in stressed, I'm going to actually add to that environment. What I need to do is, like, pull the stress out and add a different type of energy into the restaurant. And so, when I come in, I'm always super happy. Like that, so I just deal with, like I just say, I actually specifically say to myself, Rollin, it doesn't matter, you're having to go. You might as well make it good while you're there. And you might as well be happy as you drive out there. And so I just do that. It's not that I'm like excited about going to begin with or getting called in, you know, because no one likes to get called into work when they're expecting to be off. Yeah. But that's one way I personally deal with that unpredictability. But anyway. So, let me brag on that Sparta crew. Yeah. Y'all, the roof could be off with water filling the floors and fire in the kitchen. And that sweet crew up there is for sure going to work through it together. Oh, that's so awesome. Now, see, we have the best crew in the world. And,
so you can see
if I can. Okay, I'm going to click see more here if I can. Okay, yeah. While at the same time treating each customer like family, you're going to hear a, hey, come on in and have a seat near with us and we'll be right with y'all. That's so freaking awesome. It makes me feel so good.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank
you, Jamie.
Yeah, thank you so much for adding that. That's so good. I appreciate that.
And Katie and Savannah, they are the ones up in Sparta, and I mean, Rollin goes on the weekends, but they're the ones making sure that our staff is doing that. So, you know, give them a pat on the back.
Yeah, tell them how much you appreciate it. When you see Katie and Savannah,
appreciate them
please,
so much.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's the reason why we, gifted them with part ownership is because they just, they worked really hard, and they're continually, working really hard.
And they do so much that, well, before they became owners, like when they were still employees, like they just did above and beyond. Like we never asked them to do things that they did, and so. But
anyway, we want to invite y'all into our lives a little bit more, and we're going to kind of talk to some of our employees, and I'll share with y'all on the next episode. Remind me to do this if you don't mind. To talk about how, like the flip that happened with us on like how that. Because one thing that I learned from one of my mentors is Bob Proctor. He said the amount of money you earn is directly proportionate to the amount of service you render. Like how much value that you add, right? And so it occurred to me one day that we're not only serving our customers, we're serving our employees by giving them jobs. But then I realized that we could serve, like how could I serve them more? And ever since we've been focused on how can we serve our employees more and our customers more, it actually ended up giving us a much more cohesive crew, and it changed the culture of the restaurant. But wouldn't you say, like, when we started focusing on making this a place of growth?
Yeah.
You know, it's really made a difference. You know. Yeah. So anyway, final thoughts, Jesse.
I don't know.
All right. So this has been the very first episode of the Possumbility Podcast. I don't know how often we're going to do this 5%. Exactly. It's 5% battery, so we hit it at the right time. So come in, eat some possum, eat more possum, get you a shirt. You can go over to our website. You can online order at www.thewhitepossum.com. You can hit the big green order to go button. Also, if you want some fantastic coupons, deals, things like that, at the top of the website, www.thewhitepossum.com.
Check it out.
There is actually a little place you can add to your email. Mm-hmm. You can add to our email list. Jessie takes care of almost all of those. And she just got through literally right before we did this. She just created 2 more emails to be going out tomorrow and the next day. Mm-hmm. So, and they're always valuable. And so we got a lot of cool stuff happening. Go follow her on Instagram at wearing. I
think it's wearing_happy or at JSVanada.
Yeah.
So. And
then mine is at Rollin V. And you can like us on follow my podcast on the Mind and on our Secret Thoughts. At Rollin Vanada Video Experience, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Rollin Vanada. So you guys have an absolutely... Jesse's just lowered. So let me say it. Bye, guys.
We'll go down. That up. Bye.
That's how we'll end each one. Bye. I gotta reach over.